Good day and welcome to Restaurant 62. I'm Chef Jeff. You've probably thought that having a beautiful lobster feast would be a great way to really impress some dinner guests, and you'd be absolutely right. However, you've also probably seen these guys floating around in your local market and wondered, how do I even begin to prepare them? Well, you're in luck, because today we're going to go through Lobster 101 and we're going to start right from the bottom. First of all, on the drive home, you want to keep these guys a little bit moist. They are from the sea after all. So what you want to do, an ordinary damp newspaper, best kept secret. Now, the most important thing with selection is you want a feisty lobster. You want a bit of a fighter. Now, you don't need to set up a battle royale and do a Michael Vick lobster pick, but you want to make sure that it can support its own weight out of the water, it's feisty, everything's moving around, because with a lively lobster, you're definitely going to get more meat per pound, and it's also going to be a lot firmer and sweeter and have a much nicer texture than a lobster that's about ready to collect its retirement. Now, as you probably suspected, these little guys are going to be in hot water pretty soon, but ordinary water isn't going to give us extraordinary lobster. So what we need to make is a really simple and real nice court bouillon. I've got right here a little bit of diced celery, a diced onion, some diced fennel. I've also got some plucked fresh thyme leaves, coriander seed, some fennel seed, and I've got a whole lemon here. I'm just going to squeeze and juice right into this. If you don't have all of this, or you have some of this, that's great. As much as you have, that's all you need. Now, one ingredient here I want to take a second to talk about is sea salt. We really want to make sure that this water is as salty as the ocean that the lobster came from, and that's just going to help in the end product, final seasoning, and really bring out those natural flavors of the lobster. So really important to make sure you got about 1/3 of a cup of that in there. If you don't have sea salt, regular salt's just fine. Last but not least, I've got a nice dry glass of white wine, and that's all you got to do. We're going to put this into a pot of water I've got boiling over here. Everything's going in. I've got about 3 gallons of water here. We need a substantial amount of water for when we add the lobster, that the water temperature doesn't drop too low and it takes a long time to come back to a boil. Now that everything's in the pot, I'm gonna let it simmer for about 15 minutes, extract all those lovely flavors, make our yummy concoction that these guys are gonna go for a little hot tub in. But before that, I'm gonna send it over to Eric for the wind up.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, here you are. You're preparing a nice lobster for your lucky guests, and you like them so much that you're giving them lobster. Let's get them some great 90-point wines. Now, traditionally, with lobster, I like to use a Chardonnay. This is from Kendall Jackson. This is a 2007 Vintner's Reserve. And what I like about this wine is during the barrel aging, they've stirred the lees, which gives it this nice creaminess to it and goes perfect with the lobster, the nice buttery flavor of the lobster. This has got a little tropical fruit, some mango, pineapple, little green apple, and pear. It's going to be a beautiful wine, beautiful pairing. But if you want to depart from the traditional, let's try this Sauvignon Blanc. This is from Kim Crawford Vineyards out of New Zealand. This is a 2008 vintage. What I like about this one is you take a bite of the lobster, the vibrant acidity in this wine just washes away all that butter and fat. You're left with this fresh, herbaceous, leafy, nettly citrus on your palate. It's just gorgeous. Awesome, incredible. And if you really want to be a rebel, break from tradition, on our website is Bonnie Cada Solo. It's an organic white. It's an Albarino from California, and it's incredible. It's got nasturtium, white pepper, lychee, and lime. It's a fruit bomb in your mouth, and it's going to be unbelievable with the lobster. So now you got 3 pairings with the lobster. I think something's fishy in the kitchen. Let's go check out Jeff.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. You know what? The only fishy thing going on around here are these crazy crustaceans. We're about to hop into our court bouillon. You know what the best way to do this, guys, really simply, is just pop them in head first and get it done. Now, what I want to do, crank the heat on this pot. We want to bring it back to a boil as fast as possible. Then we're going to lower it back to a simmer so that as the lobster's cooking, it's not getting really beat up by the bubbling water. It's just got to simmer for the duration of the cook time. If you want to check out our website, r62tv.com, we've got some great information about cook times, lobster weights, and everything that you're going to need to know. But the general rule of thumb is 6 to 8 minutes per pound, and I've got 2 2-pound lobsters in here, so we're going to let this pot simmer for about 14-15 minutes, and then they're ready to go. Okay, the timer's gone off. It's about 14-15 minutes later. We're going to pull these guys right out here, one at a time, bring them over to our workstation. All right, they're pretty hot, of course, but what we want to do is we want to let them cool, and preferably we'd like to let the tails get straight, right? It's not a big deal. That's just for presentation. That's how we do it at the restaurant. You can see it's turned that bright red color here, but that's not the best indicator to let you know that it's done. Really what you want to do is take a look. If you want to pop out one of these guys, they pop out pretty quick, then you know you're ready to go. Honestly, you could eat this right now. It'd be delicious, but we want to do a little bit more, show you how we handle the lobster here at the restaurant, so we're going to break it down for you. My number one thing is I like to separate everything so I know what I'm working with right away. So I'm going to start with the claws here and pop them right off at the bottom of the body. They come out real simple here. It's nice and cooked, so there's no problems. That comes out, and then simply just a hard twist, and we're going to separate this body and have the tail come away real easy. Just like that. Inside here is a little bit of the tamale. It's not going to hurt you. You can go ahead and eat that. You can make soups, sauces out of that. It's got a little bit more of an intense lobster flavor. We're going to save all this for a soup or something like that. But right now we're going to focus on these claws here. You can see how the joints are all connected here. So we're going to start breaking this apart here, popping that one off, doing the exact same to the large claw here. And right down here where it attaches to the body, there's really not much to worry about. So we're going to snap that off. And you can see this is kind of like the knuckle, or it's called the elbow. And we want to kind of reverse against that hinge and pop that apart. One nice chunk of meat. Using your pinky finger right up through that back of this back side of the joint, we're just going to free it up. It pops right out. We'll do the exact same thing to the other side. That part at the body, go against that natural motion of the joint. Comes out in one nice piece every time. It's also best to work with these when they're a little bit warm. That way the juices are still flowing. It's not going to get stiff and cold and congeal up on you. Now this is the part a lot of people have a bit of a problem with, and that's separating the claws. There's a really big tendon in there, but the most important thing to do is just exercise that tendon, free it up from the meat on the inside. Then you're going to go one side, then you're going to crack it back the other side, and then open it right up, just like opening a can. And it always comes out. You get the smaller one and that extra big one. Sometimes, you know what, we didn't even lose any of the meat. We got a nice little piece here. We're going to do the exact same to the smaller side, just a little bit different, because we want to preserve that presentation. We're going to exercise that joint, snap it both ways, and then pull straight up. And again, we get both sides of that tendon, and we've left our little morsel of meat there. The easiest way to get this meat out of the claw, using a nice heavy French knife, set it right in, and then just give it a nice little tap on one side, then the exact same tap on the other side. Opens up that whole claw, and the meat just slides right out. Exact same thing. You want to hit it right about that point on the hinge here, right through. Don't hammer it too hard. You don't really want to break up that meat inside or crush the shell right into it. You just want to open it up and free it all up. Now this is a pretty healthy sized lobster, so I always like to anchor it nice and straight down, stand my knife up straight in with the tip in one motion, just like a paper cutter, right through the whole thing, then finish off that cut right there. You can either take this meat out of the shell, right like this, or you can leave it in the shell right here. It's perfect for on the barbecue, on the grill. A little bit of salt, you're ready to go. And that, my friends, is Lobster 101. And from here, honestly, the possibilities are endless. You could keep it simple with a whole lobster and clarified butter. You could step it up a notch, do something a little bit more fancy, all out of the shell with a nice lobster salad. And to tie them both together, I've got one of my favorite side dishes with lobster. It's a warm bacon and potato salad with Dijon, a little bit of asparagus. Works out great. So you can always find these recipes on our website at r62tv.com.
But you forgot the most important dish.
What dish?
Mobster lobster.
Mobster lobster.
Hey, just take these tiny little lobster hats and you put them on, little fedoras.
That is the most ridiculous thing you've ever come up with.
Oh, trust me, you're gonna love it. Check it out. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Oh, you'll never take me alive, coppers.
Forget about it.
Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
It makes sense. They got a great hotel up the coast.
I don't get it.
Lobsters live in the sea with the fishes.
I still don't get it.
Try some of this wine. It'll all make sense soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Cheers to you and yours.